If you're watching this video, you are probably considering playing or crafting an Arclight Phoenix deck in Standard. Before we get into the details, let me give you a little bit of history surrounding this famous card. Arclight Phoenix has been a deck that has been around since Guilds of Ravnica. At first, a lot of people slept on this card, but many quickly realized the powerful potential it provides. So what is Arclight Phoenix? Arclight Phoenix is a 3/2 Phoenix with flying and haste, which can be cast for 4 mana. This is not the main thing you wish to achieve, however. Its main power comes from its secondary effect, which reads: at the beginning of combat on your turn, if you've cast 3 or more instant and sorcery spells this turn, return Arclight Phoenix from your graveyard to the battlefield. The goal of the deck therefore is to get as many copies of this card into the graveyard through discarding effects, and then casting cheap spells and swarming the field at the start of the combat phase. Arclight Phoenix stopped seeing play for a while in Standard, because we lost a lot of the tools to efficiently abuse its effect after the rotation. On top of that, the power creep of recent sets has led to the card falling into a tier 2 category for a while. With the release of Ikoria, however, we got 2 new tools that make the card relevant again. First of all, we now have Sprite Dragon, a 1/1 flyer with haste that gets a +1/+1 counter whenever you cast a non-creature spell. Also, we have Cathartic Reunion, which allows us to discard 2 cards and then draw 3. Not only does this effect allow us to churn through our deck quickly, but it also allows us to dump Arclight Phoenix into the graveyard. On top of that, if you do have Sprite Dragon on the field, it keeps adding +1/+1 counters every time you cast it. This can escalate quickly because not only does Arclight Phoenix returning to the field provide you with a 3/2 body, which is flying and evasive, having the card constantly return to the field every time you cast 3 instant or sorcery spells is extremely powerful. With that said, let's have a look at the deck and how to build it. Are you still wondering if this deck is for you? Well, let's find out. My version of the Arclight Phoenix deck contains the following: 8 mythic cards, 13 rare cards, 20 uncommon cards and 21 common cards. I will go through some of the pros and cons of the deck. So first of all, what are the pros? Well, for one, all your creatures are flying, so the deck is extremely evasive. Secondly, because the deck is housing so much removal, it's very easy to get rid of creatures and planeswalkers that your opponent controls. Thirdly, if you do get board wiped, simply cast 3 spells in your turn and every Arclight Phoenix will come rushing back to the battlefield to fight once more. The deck does have a few flaws, however. Since it's heavily centered around using discard cards or spells as a way to draw more cards and putting your Phoenixes into the graveyard, sometimes if your opponent counters your spell, you will lose a lot of card advantage. Also, going second against decks like Mono Red aggro tends to lead to them getting so far ahead that you can hardly keep up. Added to this, since you have no way to apply early pressure and the deck generally starts going off around turn 4 or 5, it leaves us very vulnerable in the beginning of the game. And also putting our Sprite Dragon onto the field has it likely removed early on. But is it still worth it to build this deck? Yes, it is. Despite its flaws, the deck performs really well against most decks, especially creature decks. The deck will perform best in a best of 3 environment, but I have personally played it in best of 1 and it did well. If you're looking for a deck that requires a decent amount of thinking and allows you to make meaningful decisions, Arclight Phoenix is likely the deck for you. If you are still uncertain, however, I will showcase a bunch of videos the coming days playing the deck against a variety of decks in both best of 1 and best of 3. If you are interested in seeing the performance of the deck, please check those out. Also, if this video helped you in any way, please consider subscribing or liking the video. It would help me out a lot. Either way, I hope you had fun, and as always, see you in the next video.
Clean victory. My plan is crystallizing.
overcome any challenge.